I'm so excited. I'm so excited when I'm really depressed. Technically. Because the book, I've been bugging this author for like over a year now. When's the next book coming out? When's the next book coming out? And she was radio silent. Radio silent. Not a word, not on her site, not on her Facebook. Zero, zilch, nothing. And then we started getting rumblings around October or so last year. And apparently the book came out around Christmas. I didn't know it. So I was accidentally scrolling, saw it, book signing. But book signing, that means it's out. Go to Amazon, click order, bing, done. And it has arrived. And hey, welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina, K-R-S-T-I-N-A. This is where we read books and talk about books. Read books and talk about books. No special effects. None of that fancy stuff going on other channels. If you could please spread the word, please hit the like and subscribe. Please, 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 please. And if you haven't watched the 6 other videos on this author, please go check them out. And it inspired a whole if-then. So there's 2 if-then with time travel. This is in the second one, and I did that whole Highlander, Karen Marie Moaning thing, and all that time travel last September. Please go check all of those out. But anyway, and I have to tell you, I know you can't kill the time continuum situation. If you change one little thing, you might change a kabillion things. And a small thing here could be a volcano up here. I get all that. But there were several times in this book where I was going, hey, Claire BEECHAM RANDALL FRAISER, who was doing this stuff in the 1780s in the States. And here Kendra is in 1816, and they haven't heard about Claire stuff. I would have thought, it's fiction! Alright, it's fiction. Alright, it's fiction. It's fiction. Claire is fiction. Claire is not real. She doesn't exist in this universe. You gotta get through that head, but I couldn't help it. I had Claire on the brain. I just binge-watched season 7 of Outlander. And yeah, I know Claire's fiction. And she's trying to pretend this is like real life situation. But I couldn't help it. I couldn't help all my comparisons to Claire in this book. So, I was waiting. Here we go. Echoes in Time. This is book 7, Julie McCoy. And Alec and Kendra have married. And the marriage occurred off stage. One of those things, it's like the Janet book. We were told about Stephanie and Joe after it happened. We waited 30 books, and you didn't have us there for the ceremony. That's the situation. If you're sitting down with 2 characters and they're having lunch and they're having a discussion and you're there for the discussion, that is on stage. But if you're told in the chapter, oh, Joe and Smith went to lunch last week and they talked about X, that's off stage. It happened off stage. The wedding happened off stage. So Alec and Kendra have gotten married, and I'm waiting for them to get to Italy so she can have a pizza. She better have a pizza. And spaghetti and meatballs. She's got to have this food when she gets to Italy. Has got to have this food when she gets to Italy. And pastries up the yin yang. But, so, the wedding happened off stage with the wedding breakfast. And, a courier from the Queen arrives. Lady Westford has died, and she was one of the Queen's ladies in waiting. And the Queen has heard of Kendra, and she wants Kendra to investigate the death. So Kendra leaves the wedding breakfast early, and the upper noses are like, the bride and groom does not leave the breakfast thing early. And I'm sitting there going, you know, you go, you eat, and then you run because you got to get to the honeymoon situation. But this time, she's not going to a honeymoon situation. This time, she's going to London. So we have Kendra, who is our FBI agent from the future, who went through. I go through all my other videos to watch all this recap. I get caught up in it. But so she's an FBI person from the current times who got trapped in 1816 or 1815. And she fell in love with Alec, and they got married. And this is their wedding day. And the Duke is very fond of her too. He's taken her on as his ward, and now he considers her his niece. And Alger's sister, Lady Caroline Atwood, we don't see her too much. And we do see Lady Rebecca a little bit. She's a friend, and her parents, Lord and Lady Blackburn. We do have Ethan Monroe, our coroner, Sam Kelly, our Bow Street runner, and Finn Madoon is our reporter. Those are our group, our core group, our investigators, our soul players. So, supposedly, the rumor has it that the lady jumped off the balcony in the theater and committed suicide, but they want the world to think it was an accident because they don't want her family tarnished with the suicide thing. But Kendra goes and investigates, and the balcony is really, really high. So, and she couldn't have accidentally fallen, and it wasn't suicide. You're not going to commit suicide in the theater if you have zero to do with the theater. She was pushed. She was murdered. And she's not the first one. She apparently had been to Dr. Monroe's before the wedding. He had a girl fished out of the Thames, and apparently she knew the girl that was fished out, but didn't tell Dr. Monroe that she knew the girl. And apparently the woman had an open marriage, so she had lovers, and her husband had lovers. In fact, her husband had she set this woman up on an estate, and she had several children by this guy, and he supported her and supported the kids, whole 9 yards. So there's the open marriage to go by, and then the husband was fine with her lovers until she started dating a Jewish person, and then he had issue with that. And there again, your racism is taught. I talked about that in the other video. Racism is taught. It's taught or learned. It's not. You're not born a racist. So Kendra goes and does her investigation, and there's quite a bit of medical stuff going on here. And yeah, I know Claire is fictional. I couldn't help it. They were talking about the stethoscope. And it's such a simple little thing. That was invented in 1816, and it took a couple years for it to get going. They also talk about blood transfusions in this book. And they started experimenting in 1818. James Blundell tried it. Some were successful, some were fatal. And I know the space-time continuum situation. I know. And it won't be for 100 more years. 100 more years. It won't be the 1920s when someone discovers there are types of blood. We all have different types. There's A, there's B, there's O, and there's AB, and then there's the RH thing. I don't understand it all, but I'm sitting there going, Kendra, just a smidge of a hint to somebody. But she can't. She'll ruin the space continuum situation. It could disrupt what happens in 1900 completely. That guy gets famous. So you don't want to ruin his destiny. The guy that actually did it. But I'm sitting there going, I'm just screaming blood types. Blood types! Blood types! Blood types! Sorry. So they go, like I said, they go and investigate the murder, and they discovered there was a witness, but she got away, and she was chased away by the killer, and she's in hiding. So they look for her a little bit. Then they actually go, the group of them, they actually go to Dr. Westford's house, and they've got the lady, they've released the coroner that they chose, was told to say that it was an accident, that it was accidental death. And Kendra had assumed, it takes a while before she actually gets to the question, had assumed that it was Mr. Westford, Lord Westford, that told the coroner to say it was an accident. But he didn't. The husband didn't. Somebody else has paid off the coroner to say it was an accident. Possibly the murderer wanted him to say it was an accident. So she's, the husband is the first suspect, and he's also the first one dismissed. And she does, a couple other people also get murdered, and they talk about the grave robbing and how the bodies were used for medical experiments. And they learned a lot from dead bodies. They still learn a lot from cadavers. People are still leaving their bodies to medical schools today. But it was just, and they end up doing an autopsy in the guy's living room, And Kendra's like, no, her head was bashed in, and this was broken, and that was broken, and all this kind of stuff. She was murdered. And then they also discovered that the woman had some bruising on her wrists. And the husband said he hadn't seen the woman in like 4 days. And Kendra doesn't understand how you cannot see your wife for 4 days. But it was the kind of arrangement they had. He really didn't care. So a couple other people get killed. Kendra investigates. She has some moments with Alex. This is really a PG book. There's no, they kiss, whatever. They do with Janet. Kiss whatever, door closed, next chapter is the next day. You don't really need all those extra details. We're dealing with the murder and stuff like that. And I love these books so much. I like this one and Andrea Penrose, and there was another book. I keep waiting. I think one of the other books I read, and I can't remember the title of it, and wait a second. I would like a couple of things. I would like to know what happened to Edwina. I'm going to post that on her Facebook page, see if she responds or says something like, you'll have to wait till the next book to find out. But I would like to know what happened to Edwina. But I also wanted to mention that these books, Kelly Armstrong's Rip Through Time, Mallory, I think her name is, I'm not sure, I don't remember. She's a police officer, and she gets mugged and raped in modern time, and she ends up in the body of a maid that also got raped and murdered way back when, who works for the coroner. So she ends up staying in that time period. But she does come forwards, and she talks to her parents, and she tells her parents about the life she's made. And I believe, don't quote me, I believe that's the series where they bought this house, and they're leaving messages in the floorboards to go back and forth. They're actually communicating. They don't know how it works, but they've been doing it that way. So that's the Kelly Armstrong series that does that. So go check out my videos on those. And then the Louise Allen ones, where the girl gets the locket that heats up, and she goes back and forth in time. So at some point, I do think, I had all these different theories in my head last night. I was like, she could get pregnant. maybe possibly twins, need modern medical care and have to come forward for that. But Alex has to stay in his time period. So she comes forward for a year, but it's not a year in book. It's like a chapter or two in the book. And then she goes back to the 1800s with Alex and the kids. But a year has passed. And she's also figured out that FBI stuff because at the end of the book, she's the main suspect. Way back when, a couple books ago. So maybe she'd want to clear that up too. But I'm still also looking forward to her and Alec going to Italy and her getting a pizza and introducing Alec to pizza and spaghetti and meatballs. I've just got it on the brain. I love this series so much, it's not funny. So hurry up, Julie. Hurry up. Get the next book out. Come on, Mark Schnell. Hurry up. Quickly. Let's get going here. I'd like one in December 2026. Fingers crossed. She did say that it took her extra long time to write this book, that she hadn't planned on writing it this long. But like I said, I was screaming, blood type. I tried to make this book last. I really tried. You'll have to go see my my unboxing when I got it. I was sitting there screaming and yelling, "Yay! My book's here! I'm so excited. It was awesome. Please go check out the reviews for the other videos for all 6 of these. It's awesome. And don't forget to check out JD Rom, Eve Dallas Saturdays, Unboxing Sundays, If Then Fridays, Recap of Voyager Fridays, and Flashback Mondays. Have a good one.